I'm live. It's been some time. If you're a wide angle follower and you're watching this, I don't. I've still got like 80,000 followers on this channel, but I don't know how many were actually able to get access to this because this had some experienced some suppression. Anyway, I'm hosting a health show now. I'm a health journalist, and I have a focus on mental health. I want to talk about men's mental health because there's some very worrying statistics around that, like the fact that if you walk into a morgue and there's five people who have died there from suicide, four of those are going to be men statistically. Men have higher rates of incarceration, they have higher rates of substance abuse, they have higher rates of homelessness. But the clue to why men might be struggling so much in society, I think, really lies when you look at the isolation factor for men. There was a recent survey asking men if they had a best friend. One in four men did not have a best friend. One in seven men could not identify a single friend. Why are men so isolated in society? Why are they facing this situation? I suspect it might have the fact to do that men may not like themselves very much. Why is that? Well, you don't have to look too far because men are given the message quite strongly that they're not really that likable. If you look at, you don't have to look too far. You can look at entertainment. You look at the sitcoms. I don't watch TV anymore, but I'm thinking back to the sitcoms of the '90s, the noughties, Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, The Family Guy, Al Bundy, Ray Romano, and Everybody Loves Raymond. But you get these kind of ineffectual male figures. They're often overweight. They're disgusting. They're morally degenerate. They're morally inferior to the woman in the family, to the female lead. I'm not saying that they should necessarily be superior, but you got to ask yourself, what are these representations based upon? Another thing is that men aren't really encouraged to value themselves very much in society. If you look at a presidential campaign, how many times do you hear them talking about we've got to do something, really got to do something now about men's health? You don't hear that very often. In 2016 campaign, we're going some time back, but it was all about women and children's health. It was about veterans' health, which is applicable to some degree, but that's only one third of men who are under the. It's only one third of men in the U.S. society. It was about repealing Obamacare, but there wasn't much talk of men's health. I don't know if you're hearing that yourself when you're hearing presidential campaigns. So men on one side, they're not really encouraged to value their health. They're not going out. They have a lower rate of insurance than women. They don't get medical care as much as women. They don't value themselves very much. At the same time, there's these messaging that masculinity isn't a good thing. Masculinity has to be restrained. We look back at the 2019 Gillette commercial that caused so many waves, um, depicting men that men need to pull in their bullying behavior. They need to pull in their sexually harassing behavior. Are men necessarily more bullying than women? I don't know. Perhaps women are more passively aggressively bullying while men are more physically bullying. Or perhaps there's more women enacting bullying over social media channels. The question I ask, though, is what are these representations based on that men need to restrain their masculinity, that masculinity is dangerous? But that is the situation men are facing, and they're kind of caught between, well, you need to restrain your masculinity. Masculinity is dangerous, but at the same time, don't be too soft on yourself. Don't be too gentle to yourself. I don't know if we can do much about society. History has shown us that society doesn't change too rapidly, so I don't know if we're going to change these social institutions too quickly. But if you are a man and you're struggling with isolation, I'd encourage you to really push against that and enact that historic male bravery and get out there and force yourself into situations that may not be comfortable, but there is an advantage to really getting out there and connecting with other people, particularly men, because you get that positive feedback that you don't really get through social media. And in that, you might get the messaging that you have a good sense of humor, you're a likable person. That's a little bit different to what's being pumped out there through society. So I encourage you to try that. That's kind of why I'm doing this right now, because I suffer my own level of loneliness and isolation sometimes. So I appreciate your audience. I'm a health journalist with a focus on mental health. I'm Brandon, and good to be with you.